Episode 2, The Order of Time, Carlo Rovelli and the Nature of Reality. Before we step into Carlo Rovelli's exploration of the nature of time, let's pause for a moment. There's a connection here, surprising yet profound, to ideas that are over 2,000 years old. The Stoics, from Seneca to Marcus Aurelius, were obsessed with the same question, not in terms of physics, but in terms of life. How do we live well when the flow of time is uncertain, when life is fragile, and when so much lies beyond our understanding or control? Seneca wrote that life is short, not short. We only waste it when we fail to focus on what matters. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the present is the only time we truly have. Both were urging the same thing that Rovelli does in his book, though in a very different language. To pay attention to this fleeting moment, to see the world clearly, and to live deliberately within the only time we truly possess, the now. And with that in mind, let's turn to the order of time, a journey into how science deepens this ancient reflection, showing us that time is not only a measure of clocks, but a structure of experience, perception, and meaning. Time is something we feel with every heartbeat. We check the clock, mark the calendar, count the birthdays, mourn anniversaries. But what if everything we thought we knew about time is an illusion? What if the flow from past to future, which feels so absolute, is only a human perception, an imperfect lens on the universe itself? Carlo Rovelli was born in Verona, Italy, in 1956. As a child, he would stare at the night sky, or so I'm told, for hours, captivated not just by the beauty of the stars, but by their mystery, how they moved, how they existed, how time shaped them, and how humans measured it. It wasn't just curiosity, it was an obsession. He read physics books voraciously, often skipping school lessons, chasing questions that seemed almost unanswerable. As he grew, his fascination became a career. He pursued physics with rigor, eventually becoming one of the leading thinkers in quantum gravity. The effort to reconcile Einstein's general relativity with the strange, probabilistic world of quantum mechanics. But Rovelli is not the stereotypical physicist locked away with equations. He's a storyteller. Even as he explored the deepest mysteries of space and time, he wanted to translate them into words and worlds that humans could grasp. Words that conveyed both the science and the awe it inspires. The desire led to The Order of Time. The book is part physics, part meditation, part human, part reflection. Rovelli begins by asking us to reconsider something we take for granted, the ticking clock. Every culture, every mind treats time as flowing like a river, from past to present to future. But modern physics tells a different story. At the smallest scales, the world of atoms and particles, time does not flow uniformly. The sequence of events depends on perspective. Cause and effect can blur. The universe is not a single universal clock ticking steadily for all observers. For humans, this is disorientating. We are creatures built to live in sequence, remembering the past, anticipating the future, organising our lives around calendars and schedules. Yet Rovelli shows us this flow is perception, not reality, and that realisation can be liberating. Imagine a hot cup of coffee disappearing into the past. Picture a sunset fading into twilight. Think of a memory that feels more substantial than it really is. Even the milestones we cling to, the birthdays, anniversaries, achievements, are temporary markers in a far more fluid cosmos. Rovelli, he also draws on poetry and philosophy, not just physics. He reflects on life and mortality in ways that echo the Stoics. The present is all we have. To live fully, we must attend to the now, embrace uncertainty, and recognize that our perception of time is inseparable from our experience of life. This is the human dimension, the meditation within the science that gives the book its enduring power. The universe may be vast, strange, and indifferent, but our consciousness, the way we experience it, imbues it with meaning. Beyond the book, Rovelli's own life story is one of curiosity and courage. He has collaborated across continents, debated the brightest minds in theoretical physics, and yet remains humble, approachable, and seems deeply human. He writes not to intimidate, but to invite reflection. Reading his words, we sense a mind constantly seeking connection between human understanding and cosmic reality, between scientific rigour and philosophical wonder. Think about it. A warlord counting hours on a battlefield, a scientist racing deadlines, a student anxiously preparing for exams. None of them experience time as universal, absolute flow. Their perception of past and future, of pressure and opportunity, is filtered through their own consciousness. And yet this is precisely where freedom lies. Rovelli doesn't tell us what to do with this insight. He simply illuminates the landscape, inviting each of us to navigate it, to reflect, and to decide how to live. By the end of the Order of Time, we are left with awe and intimacy. The universe, it's stranger and more beautiful than our senses suggest. And yet our experience within it, our lives, loves, losses, joys, remain profound and precious precisely because it is fleeting. Rovelli's work bridges science and humanity, I believe, theory and lived experience, showing that even in a cosmos without absolute time, meaning and wonder are found in attention, in curiosity, and in the embrace of the present moment. His reflections resonate with the Stoics. They really do. Seneca would nod, I think. Marcus Aurelius would recognize the meditation. The present, the only time we truly have, is fleeting, fragile, but ours to inhabit fully. Next week, we will turn from the cosmos to the desert, from the language of physics to the language of allegory. Paolo Coelho, and I'm sorry, I've probably pronounced that incorrectly, but I read his book, The Alchemist, when I was around 10, and it was the first book I ever purchased from the bookstore. I still remember reading the blurb, looking at the preface before making the decision that yes, this is the book I'm going to buy. And I remember being so deeply moved by this book as such a young child. The Alchemist tells the story of a shepherd's journey to discover his personal legend, a tale that mirrors our search for meaning, purpose, and future.